Hi students, this is Mr. Metelsky, and this video will be focusing on the slope-intercept form of an equation, and specifically when we are given a graph to look at. So just a few things to review. The slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. The m in the formula represents the slope, or what we would call the movement of the graph when we look at it from left to right. The y-intercept is written with the letter b, and the y-intercept is often considered the starting point. It's the part where it hits the y-axis, so it's sort of where it begins. So what I did was I tried to outline a process for us to use when we're given a graph to figure out what the equation would end up being. So the process is to pick two nice points, to find the movement, and then to find the point where the graph passes. So let's start with the first one. It says pick two nice points. Nice points is sort of a term I made up to really describe points that fall directly on the crosshairs of a graph. And what I mean by that is, if we look here, this graph line and this graph line, this point right here falls directly on an intersection. Whereas like if I looked, let's say, at this point right here, that would not. That's sort of in the middle between these two. So nice points are points that actually fall directly on a crosshair up and down and left and right. So what we're going to do is pick two nice points. Well, I have a whole bunch of points actually labeled on here that are nice, but we can pick any two. So let's say I pick this one here and this one here. And we're going to call this point Q and this point M. What we do in order to figure out the slope, because we need the slope in order to write the equation of this line, is we're going to start at the leftmost point. Well, if we look at this graph, the leftmost point is point Q compared to point M. Q is further to the left-hand side of the graph. So if I look at point Q, I'm going to start at the leftmost point and I'm going to look to see how much up or down I have to go. So think of it sort of like if you're down here, you have to get up here. We first are going to take an elevator either up or down. Well, in our case, we have to go up the elevator. So we're going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spots. So we're going to go up 6. And then we're going to go to the right. Well, let's count. From here it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we're going to the right 9 spots. So 9 that way. So to figure out our slope value here, we can say that our slope, our m, is equal to 6 over 9. Up 6, right 9. And it's a positive 6 because we're going up. And if we simplify that, 6 divided by 9 turns into 2 divided by 3. Now the reason that's 2 divided by 3 is because really for every 2 units up, we may move 3 units to the right. And check it out, if we start at any one of these nice points, up 2, right 3, up 2, right 3, up 2, right 3. You see how it's just sort of like a staircase? So that slope tells us how it moves. The other part of this is to figure out where this line crosses the y-axis. So if we look at this, the y-axis here is the vertical axis, and it crosses right here. So the b value, where it crosses, well, that's down at -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6. So the b value is -6. So now that we have those two pieces of information, we can actually write our slope-intercept form. So y equals mx plus b. And what we're going to do is just substitute these two values in for m and b. So y equals, instead of m, we're going to write 2/3 x plus b, which is -6. And instead of writing the plus and negative, we could just clean it up by writing y equals 2/3 x minus 6. That would be the official equation there. So let's do the same thing for this second one here. So for the second one, again, we want to identify two nice points. And we could pick any 2 points along here. So let's say we pick this point here and this point here. And let's call these points J and C. So we have 2 points here labeled J and C. And again, we start at the one that's the leftmost. So if you look, point J is further to the left on the graph than point C is. So we're going to begin at point J, and we're going to decide if we need to go up the elevator or down the elevator to get to the next point. So we're going to have to go down the elevator to get on the same floor as C. So from J, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we're going down 10 floors, if you want to think of it like a building. So that'd be -10, down 10. And then we're going to go to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 units. So our slope this time is down 10 over 5. Well, -10 over 5 is really -2. And then we look to find where our graph hits the y-axis. So again, here's the y-axis in green. And if you look, hits the y-axis right here. That's right down at -1. So that would be our b value, -1. Now, just to revisit the slope here, slope is -2. That really means down 2 over 1, because we could put this as -2 divided by 1 here. So if you follow your down from this point, down 2, right 1, down 2, right 1, down 2, right 1, down 2, right 1. Do you see how it just keeps going? So each line, or each next point, or each nice new point, just keeps going in that pattern. So our final step then is to write the equation. So y equals mx plus b. The m is -2, so it's going to be y equals -2x plus the b, which is -1. Again, we have one of these situations where it's a plus and negative, so we might as well just write it as y equals -2x minus 1. And that's our final answer. So please make sure when you're doing this, you use this process. You find 2 nice points. Okay. You find the movement where you start at the leftmost point. The top number either goes up or down. Up positive, down negative. Bottom number is always to the right. And then you find the point where the graph passes through the y-axis. If you have any questions at all, please make sure you reach out. Again, we just reviewed how to figure out the slope-intercept form when you're given a graph.